camera wouldn't flip around.
All right,
No,
so here we go. We are live. Thank you guys for waiting a little bit. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties, but be that as it may, the show must go on. I'm happy to have Marshal Hilton on here. Thank you, Marshall. Thank you for coming on. Star of A Clear Shot. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. We got this all figured out.
Right, right. Well, to start first, can you talk a bit about how you got involved with this project?
I'm one of the actresses that played Officer Avuncular, Jess Meza. I've known her for over 10 years. We were well, and she liked what we did, and I did, and whatever. And we talked off and on over the years, and then I got a phone call saying, "Hey, we got this thing, and you might be right for this," and blah blah blah. And I said, "Cool," and it was called The Good Guys, and they sent me a script. And along with the script, there was this little video attachment, so a little thumbnail. I didn't know anything about it. And fast reverse, about 15 years prior, I had seen this video clip. I think it may have came through on MySpace, or I don't know where it came from. It was a long time ago. And it was a live video feed of this hostage situation that was live. That the news footage in Sacramento was broadcasting live when the whole climax of this event went down. And there was also police audio in the video because the police had put a microphone inside one of the vests that the hostage takers requested so they could listen to the room. The kids didn't know that. And there was a negotiator on the line when the shot was taken, the glass explodes, and then the girl runs out and she's tied to this cord. And I remember just going, "Oh my God, that's intense." And I watched it like a half a dozen times and I went, "Man, that is crazy." All right, fast forward 15 years later, I click on this little video link along with the script, and it's the same video. And it's kind of the universe going, "Here you go." And it was mind-boggling. I go, I've seen that. And I watched the video. I go, "God dang." And then I went back and researched and go, "Oh, that's the video of that siege." And these guys were making the movie. It was originally called The Good Guys, but I guess for legal reasons, the big box store and all that kind of stuff, so they decided to change it to A Clear Shot. And then I watched the video. I went, "Wow." And then I read the script, and then it had a different angle to it. It wasn't cops and robbers. The end. There was a little bit of story between why this happened. Nick had a real interest to figure out why these kids made these. Let's go.
All right, awesome. Well, with that being said, it's funny. A lot of times when you're dealing with projects that are inspired by true stories, the process for the actor is different. Everyone has a different process in terms of how it works. Sometimes you'll stick strictly with the script because you don't want to deviate too much or put too much subjective perception of like how the characters are, or it might be the exact opposite. You'll actually touch base with the folks that were involved with that entire event or that process or that character, so to speak. So for you, did that involve a lot of research and getting involved with the folks that were involved with that event, or was it a little more objective and just kind of getting a feel of the character itself in terms of what their process would be, just in as a negotiator or as a person in that situation?
It was actually more because of the way they put the film together. It was really just a person in that situation. It was inspired by. So, and they did not cast to type. Cappy, the character I played, was a real guy. He was there, and you saw the movie, I take it, correct?
Yes.
Okay, he actually did that whole underwear thing, but they didn't cast a type because he was a big dude. He was like a bear, and he had a bit of a gut on him. He was living good, and he was wearing European Speedo bikini with no clothes on. And when I saw them, I go, yeah, they definitely didn't cast the type on it. So I didn't really have to deal with trying to recreate the person. So that gives you latitude just to go, okay, now I'm in this situation, and just dealing with the other actor in the scene, getting the dialogue out, and going moment to moment. I am familiar. I've got a number of friends that are ex-law enforcement, ex-military, and I do understand their rhythms. I'm around them, from just being social with them and firearms training and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of had an idea of the disciplined nature of them, how they stand, how they walk. There's a certain kind of there's a bit of a machismo, testosterone type of vibe with them, but
Sure.
uh, and then the dialogue kind of led me to little other nuggets, that I didn't really want to go stereotype on it. Me and Mario talked a lot about that. Uh, Not being the classic, because I could have definitely fallen into the '80s classic Sergeant. God dang it, Murtaugh. That whole
Right,
deal.
right, right. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, those types of characters, that bust their balls, and whatever. And not to fall into that. And we talked about that. And so, you know, I could just deal with the moments, deal with the confusion, because they were really confused, and they were like, what are these kids doing? It was they were kind of in a state of, I can't believe what we're hearing, and all that kind of stuff. And then I figured my character Cappy was probably a year from retirement and he just wanted to get on his fishing boat, right? And this is the last thing that he wanted to deal with. And so that's kind of the angle that I took with it. But it wasn't difficult as far as trying to come up with a caricature, and that's what I did not want to do. Does that
Gotcha.
answer your?
Gotcha. Yes, yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, to comment further, oftentimes in those types of, because you were talking about kind of those archetypes of those not just those types of characters, but that type of situation, that type of film. We've seen a lot of films where it deals with hostages and negotiators and that type of thing. When Even though it was inspired by a true story, in getting involved with the film, was that something that ever gave you pause initially, because it was a type of story, even though, as you said, in watching the film, there are elements that are absolutely different and make it unique. But before doing that, did that give you pause and saying, oh gosh, it's I'm dealing with another situation like this?
No, not really. I was actually a little more excited to do it because it wasn't, archetype. It wasn't, the classic bad guys, good guys, get them out, the end type of thing. There was an angle to why these kids did it, so that was intriguing. Um,
Okay.
and I didn't have any reservations about it at all. I was actually kind of excited because, like I said, 15 years ago prior, I connected with that video clip. Oh my God, because I had exploded. I've never seen anything like that. I mean, that was life
Gotcha.
and death. Okay. And unfortunately there was death, and it was a nasty thing. The other thing that really intrigued me about it is, I'll go on a little tangent if I'm okay. Um,
Absolutely.
I, I sent that clip that I described to you, the one that I had saw 15 years prior, to several of my law enforcement friends. And I said, dude, we're going to make this movie. And I sent the clip, and every one of them said, I've seen this before. I go, no way. He goes, yep. They use this video in hostage negotiations and sniper school on how not to handle a situation.
Mm,
Okay, that's
gotcha.
literally. So if you're in law enforcement or whatever, and you're going to be doing that kind of stuff, somewhere along the line, that video will be shown, because it was the classic example of how to blow it and not handle things correctly, believe it or not. And I went, oh my gosh. And it makes sense because it was handled very poorly.
Yeah.
Politics, power struggles, just it was just bad on all fronts. It got way out of hand. Who's the fault? Who knows? But they use it for that way. So then I was even more intrigued. They're like, dude, I want to see that. I said, okay, cool. So it got me a little more juiced about it. Plus, I didn't have to, do a classic character, and I didn't have to worry about trying to recreate Cappy. So I just gave him my own spin.
All right, awesome. Well, I'm going to go on a brief tangent with you. I did a little research. I understand that you are a huge advocate when it comes to, animals. And, we were just in talking about, this film and being, a true, inspired by a true story. We have, and perhaps you've had time to see it, maybe you haven't, but I'm sure you've heard of it. This whole Tiger King craziness. Perhaps you've seen it, maybe you haven't seen it, but I know, as someone who's a huge advocate of animals, what is your thoughts on like all of these shows that deal with folks that are putting together like these animal zoos or reserves or what have you? Not enough time, right?
Okay. Well, no. Here's what I'll say. I haven't seen it. I saw pictures of the guy with his tigers, kind of the Siegfried and Roy thing,
Yeah.
whatever. Um, uh, and I don't know enough about it to comment on it, but this is what I will say. Um, uh, I'm not a big fan of zoos. Okay. And taking animals and putting them in there. I understand what they are, and some of these animals that have been taken in as pets are really kind of in no man's land. They've been acclimated to humans, but they're still wild. There's no win there. There's just no win. You take their claws out, you take their teeth out, they're an animal, and they're going to do some stuff, and they're just being who they are. I'm not really a big fan of it, but I know it exists. How do you stop it? And it's a slow crawl. It will happen as it happens. I worked with Star Paws Rescue for, I don't know, maybe close to 10 years, I think. Victoria Burrows is a casting director, and she's a friend of mine. And it was dog rescue, and I love animals. I love their spirit. I love everything about them. As far as the exploitation of that animal for a show and things like that, okay. I saw bits and pieces of it. I saw little rumblings about people talking about it, and I could just tell from what people were writing, it wasn't something that I wanted to watch. So I didn't. Am I missing anything?
I would still say, even though you're a little skeptical, to have a look at it. Maybe we'll revisit. I'll touch base with you again, and I'd love to know, your thoughts on it.
Okay.
From that perspective.
Yeah,
Um,
I didn't see it, and maybe I will go back and peek at it. Now
cool.
brought it up. Maybe I will.
Sounds good. Now, seeing that we are doing this interview live, so to speak, and since we are in two different places, naturally we would still more than likely be doing the interview this way, but
Right.
we are also despite that fact, doing social distancing and all of that jazz. So, with that in mind, how how is that shaping, what the next projects are you for you are? Because I know a lot of times that things are either being placed on hold or perhaps, similar to what we're doing now, whether it's Zoom or any other, tool. Perhaps there's still script readings happening or sit down readings happening. Like what is that looking like with, the other projects that you have going or gestating?
A lot of stuff is basic, pretty much shut down. It's iced out. Um, I've got 3 or 4 that are sitting out there in various stages,
Okay.
but everything's kind of shut down. I know that producers are still out rolling around checking out locations, and they're doing their thing out there where they can. Um, as far as projects, I mean, pretty much everything is shut. I mean, there's still people casting things and putting stuff together in order to be prepared to roll out. I've heard a few bits and pieces of things shooting in Atlanta, and then I've heard a couple of things shooting out of the country, bits and pieces. Um, uh, you know, I don't really, I don't really know. We're all sitting back, just kind of going, okay, what's the next evolution of all this? I've read some things about ideas on how to move forward regarding what sets are going to be like, what food's going to be like, what departments for casting and wardrobe and the union guys building sets. I've heard all kinds of crazy stuff about what they're thinking about doing, but nobody really knows for sure. My big thing is that you're talking about a medium that tells stories intimately with people, and are you going to social distance movies where actors are 6 feet apart? How do you do that?
Yeah.
How do you deal? Do you do masters with people that are 6 feet apart, which you have three people? That means you got an 18-foot freaking space and a master and one guy. I mean, how do you do that? And do you do it like that? And then people put masks on, and then they get ready to do the close up, but the close up's framed going to be that guy's going to be 6 feet apart, so they're going to have all kinds of other issues. Is this guy wearing a mask while you do your stuff, and then you put your mask on, and they take? I mean,
So many logistics. So many logistics. Yeah.
I
It's
have
crazy.
no. I mean, Hollywood can do it because I mean they're amazing. They can do that, but um, you're talking about increased budgets. If you're going to have to start figuring out how to shoot people on green screen and then beam them closer and make it look like a traditional, I don't know what the hell they're going to do. I really do not have any idea. It should be, yeah, it should be very interesting though. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be very different, and I don't know. I truly, truly wish I knew, but I don't. But they will figure something out. They're very creative people. Um, is it going to limit the amount of productions that you can do? Because if they have to start doing a lot of green screen work, that's going to just absolutely smash a lot of independent film because independent film doesn't have the budget to do that. They're not going to be
Exactly.
able to do that. Independent film gets in a place in a hotel room somewhere and they rent it for, $60 a day in the desert somewhere and they shoot their stuff in a little room. Okay, boom, we got it. We're out. They move around. They can't shoot stuff on green and bring it back and then lay in some type of an environment. That just costs a lot of money. So either budgets are going to have to get bigger or for independent film, which I have no idea how they're going to do that. Yeah, there's just there's a lot of moving parts right now, and I think what we're going to do is in the next, I would say, 6 to 8 months to a year, we're going to start seeing what the evolution is going to be because we're going to start watching those films as they start finishing them, and we'll be
Absolutely.
able to. Yeah, we don't know yet, but we're going to see it. That's for sure.
Well, all right.
It's crazy. It is absolutely crazy.
I like I said, I can't imagine like there's some folks out there, friends of mine, because of their what concentration they are in the industry, it doesn't really affect anything much. You have composers out there, they're still, out there working because they're in their studios and they can, do it
Right.
from the safety of their homes. But yeah, in other facets, like you're saying, it's fascinating to see how that will change the normal routine that a lot of
How
people in the industry are accustomed to.
how you going to
So,
shoot a two shot how are you going to shoot a two shot in a car?
right. Right.
I
Absolutely.
I don't understand. I mean, it's everything's going to get cheated for sure. There's going to be cameras here. There's going to be different lens packages. There's going to be a lot of stuff, but you still got two folks in a car. How do you do that? I have no idea. Do you get a car and cut it in half? You get a car and cut it in half, and then move the camera right next to this guy, and then open it up and bring it. You know, I, I don't know how they're going to do that, but they will figure out a way. But for me, I've just been pretty much locked down, just getting emails. Yeah, we're working with this. We're going to be doing this. We're doing that. And that kind of thing. But for the last, since for the last year, I've basically been, on hiatus anyway. I took a break for a while. Um, I just needed. I had a lot of the stuff that's coming out right now. I shot either a year or 2 years ago, and one of them actually 3 years ago. Echoes of Fear just dropped a little while ago,
Yeah.
and that's a really cool little creepy movie. If you get a chance, Brian Evan A. Bradley and his wife directed it, and I went way outside the box for that character. Shaved my head, and I mean it was one of those big physical characters, unlike Cappy in the movie that we just did. All that stuff's still coming down the pipe. So this last year, I basically took off. I just need to air out, and I've been doing my fine art photography and getting that business model up and going, and talking to a lot of gallery people, that understand
Sure.
gallery works and how the fine art world is, and my stuff to kind of launch some. So that's all I've been doing for the better part of a little bit of part of last year, and then this thing hit, and then I've just been, that's all I've been doing. Seriously.
Gotcha. Well, Marshall, thank you. I really do appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for coming on the show, talking about a clear shot. Like I said, we're gonna have to reconnect, man. I want to get your thoughts on Tiger King. We will talk. But other than that, can you tell folks where they can find you?
Obviously, Facebook, Instagram. I don't really Twitter much, but I'm there. And then, you know, I've got my you know, you can follow what's going on IMDb, and then I have my acting websites, MarshallHilton.com. I'd say in the next couple of months there will be Marshall Hilton Fine Art, and we will probably talk again because I did another film last year with Luke Goss and Louis Mandylor, and it was directed by Roger Ellis, and we shot it in Mexico.
Awesome.
And that close. We talk about that as soon as that one gets. It should be in the next few months, probably.
Okay. All right. Cool. Sounds good, man. So there you guys have it. Clear Shot will be on DVD and digital on June 2nd. Marshall, thank you so much, man. Thank you once again. To all you guys watching out there, appreciate you guys hopping on. Movers and Shakers Unlimited. Till next time. Bye.
Peace.